I want to talk to you guys about an annotation method that I want you to incorporate when you're taking this test. Okay? It's going to save you a lot of time on the test. What I've been noticing is that when we're taking the test, we're TPing a lot. We're TPing ourselves to death. And so that's killing us in terms of time. We cannot spend 1 hour on each story. So in order for us to cut this time down, we have to annotate with a purpose. Now I know you guys heard me talk about annotate with a purpose, right? But I didn't quite show you exactly what I wanted you to do. So today we're going to practice using Dear Fellow and what the page says. It's a compare and contrast text. That's why the packet is so thick. But we're going to utilize our annotations with purpose. Okay? So the objective for the day, we're going to analyze Dear Fellow Writer and what the page says, and we're going to answer STAAR Prep questions with 80% accuracy. So far, we've been doing very well in 8th grade. We got 96% with Hampton and 86% with ISU. It's great. So, let's jump straight into it so that you can get some practice, okay? So, on the board here, I've entitled this Annotations with Purpose. One of the reasons why I needed to do that is because there's so many different annotation methods. You got TPEs, right? You got trying to track the plot. You got trying to find the main idea. It's so many different annotation methods, so we have to figure out a system that's going to work for us that will ensure that we not only answer them correctly, but we answer them in an efficient amount of time. Everybody with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the purpose. Mr. B, what's the purpose? Why do I have to do this stuff that you're talking about today? There are two functions, two reasons why I want you. The first one is that it saves what?
Time.
It saves you so much time. When you're annotating for rising action and you get to the question stems and there isn't anything about rising action, that can be frustrating. It can be frustrating and it causes you to waste time. The second reason is that it helps you to focus on your what? Reading. So if you're going through the question and it's saying, okay, we want you to focus on paragraphs 8 through 10, I'm reading along. When I get to 8 through 10, I'm going to really take my time, right? And focus and TPE those paragraphs to ensure that when I get to the questions, it's all going to make sense. I'll be able to answer them accurately. Now, the how. How do you do this, Mr. B? What do you do? Okay? So in order for you to use this annotation method, you must do two things. Okay? One step we already do every single day, and that's analyzing the question stems and looking for trigger words. Okay? So, things like mood changes, stanza 2 concludes, paragraphs 3 through 6 are organized. These are all things that we'll find where? In the question stems, right? But what do you do with this information? Do you just highlight it? No. What I want you to do, and what me and Mr. Chris are going to show you, is how to take the trigger words and put them in the front page of the passage and use it as a guide for annotations. Hence, annotations with a purpose. Okay? So let's practice. Let's see what that looks like. So you need your packet. You need to flip to the questions. We're going to do 3 together with Mr. Chris helping me out. And then I'm going to set you off with your pairs so that you can complete the rest. Now before we get in this, I want to talk about this passage. When you have 2 passages together, right, you have to answer questions about both passages plus the passages combined. There are a total of 15 questions in this package, right? So I want you to think about it like this. The first 5 questions belong to the first story. The second 5 questions belong to the second story. The last 5 questions are a mix. It's going to ask you about both stories. So take a deep breath, relax, let the anxiety go, and just keep in mind that it's 5 questions for the first story, 5 questions for the second story, and it's a mix for the last 5. Everybody with me? Yes, okay, so let's take a look at this first question stem. And what I want you to do is you need to annotate what we've annotated on the board already. Okay? So the question states, based on the letter, how has the author's Hispanic heritage influenced her message? I need you to take 10 seconds and annotate what we've annotated on the board. Three, 2, and 1. All right, good job. Now, before you move on, I want you to think about the question a little bit and figure out what you can do to, let's say, what you can do to capture the essence of the question. So when you hear the word Hispanic heritage influenced her message, what does that trigger for you when you think about what you're being tested on? Yes, sir?
Author's purpose.
Author's purpose, but message, a universal message is called what, Francisco? Theme. So let me show you what we're going to do, Chris. Flip to the front. So the first question is asking us about theme, right?
Yes, sir.
So on the side here, I want you to pay close attention. Chris, blow this up for me. And push it over to the side. There we go. Okay. Now you can write what Chris wrote, because one of the things that I know I have to look for is how the author's Hispanic heritage influences the message, or it influences the theme. So I might write, how does it Hispanic heritage influence the theme? Or I might write Hispanic heritage / theme. It's the first thing that I have to look for. And if you're going to annotate, you're going to annotate with a purpose, not random annotations. Okay? Let's try question number 2, Chris. Let's flip back. And Chris, I want you to explain for me what you did for the second one. And speak loudly for me.
Okay. Well, the question says, how does the author organize paragraphs 8 through 10? So I annotated how does the author, and then how does the author organize paragraphs through 8 through 10? I highlighted how does the author in paragraphs 8 through 10, and I went back to the very first from the beginning. And I know the question was asking me about paragraphs 8 through 10, so I on the side I just noted look through 8 through 10.
Okay, so you can make this how you want it, but keep it short, keep it sweet. I know that I need to focus on what paragraphs? 8 through 10. And if you want to get a little fancier, I would go and bracket 8 through 10. So that when I'm reading through the text, right, I make a mental note to stop on paragraphs 8 through 10. You want to TPE something? You're going to TP what? 8 through 10. So far, with the 2 questions, are we TPing for paragraph 2?
No.
5?
No.
12?
No.
Which ones?
8 through 10.
8 through 10. Let's do one more, Chris. How many questions are attached to this first story?
5.
We've already gone through 3. All right. So it says the author uses the questions in paragraph 4 too. Make sure you annotate what we have annotated. You should have the author, questions in paragraph 4. Give me a thumbs up when you've annotated that. Good. Now, flip to the front. And you need to go and add that under your sequence of things that you're annotating for. Go down. Take a seat. Okay, Chris wrote next to his, what does the author mean when he's asking questions in paragraph 4? So, when you get to paragraph 4, you're paying attention to the what? The questions. Good job. You might even want to bracket paragraph 4 or highlight paragraph 4 like Chris already did. We're doing this before we have started to read. When are we doing this?
Before we read.
Before we read. Give me a thumbs up when you have completed this. Good job. So in order to get these 5 points for annotation, it must be annotations with a purpose, not just random annotations. Okay, Chris, last one. Let's look at number 5. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about this question, because sometimes we waste time going back looking for stuff that we don't need to necessarily go back to look for. So I want you to pay attention to this question. It says, which sentence, meaning we have to look at these sentences, from the letter best supports the author's claim that reading helps writers develop skills? Now, Chris, I want you to circle best supports, I want you to circle sentence. Everybody should be doing the same thing. Make sure you keep up, Clyde. I want you to circle author's claim. On top of author's claim, I want you to write position or the main idea, because that's just another word for author's claim. What is the author's position? And the last thing I want you to do is I want you to underline what the author's claim is. The author's claim is actually in the sentence stem, the question stem. It says that reading helps writers to develop what?
Their skills.
Reading helps writers to develop what?
Their skills.
Their skills. Good. Could you underline reading helps writers develop their skills? Underline, Chris. So, we know what the author's position is, right? Okay? It basically tells us in the question stem. This is one of those questions where you don't need to go back searching through the text because I got the main idea, right? So now I have to just match it with one of these sentences. Is everybody following me?
Yes, sir.
Okay? So, instead of going and flipping back to the first page and writing all of this stuff down, you ask for this question, you can actually annotate the question stem and answer this without having to go back through the story. It's going to save you what? Time. Last one. Now I told you we got how many questions for the first one? 5. Look at the last question. What do we have? What type of question is it? It's a context clue question, so you know we're going to get it right. We're going to highlight what? Paragraph 1 and the word intimidating. Can you go and put that on your annotations? Paragraph 1, and I'm looking for the word intimidate or intimidating. Again, we are not annotating randomly. We are annotating with a purpose. Now, Chris, scroll down so we can take a good look at what we actually have to do now. So, the first 5 questions, right? Do I need to TP every single little thing on the paper? No, you don't. No, you don't. I need to identify where it speaks to the heritage and how it influences the theme. I need to look at paragraphs 8 through 10 very carefully. I need to look at the questions in paragraph 4. I need to find the sentence that helps the author. We said we didn't necessarily have to put that one, but it's good that he did. And we're looking for the word intimidating in paragraph 1. Questions 1 through 5, if you've annotated the correct way, if you've annotated with a purpose, you should be able to quickly and efficiently answer those questions. Everybody got it? Yes, so the first 5 questions go to the first story. The second 5 questions will go to what?
The second story.
The second story. So in your groups, in your pairs, this is what I want you to do, and I'm going to give you approximately 10 minutes to do it. For the second story, which happens to be a poem, okay, go ahead and flip to it. I want you and your partners to go through, annotate the question stems, and put your new annotation rubric right here on the side of the text. Has everybody got it?
Yes, sir.
10 minutes, Chris, on the clock. I'll be walking around to see what you're doing. Blow it up a little bit, Chris. Thank you so much, Mr. McDonald. All right, let's get started. 10 minutes. I said it's 15 questions. First one, 28 to 32, we got now, we've probably done that.
What about the question for the form?
Okay, what we got here? As soon as you get that first one, go back. So you don't forget. it's asking me which line from form, which line from flexibly, the lesson. So the lesson is another name for like the message, right? Yeah. What's that? Think.
Then I went back on
Which line from form is flexible? Okay, so another name for the lesson is what? Think. So make it short and sweet.
next week on Moon Chain.
So once I get done with this, I need to know which message.
You gotta find out what they're talking about.
How about y'all divine culture? So we take the odds, we take 8 minutes and 16 seconds. What do we got? What number you guys on? 34. So this is asking about the speaker's what? Mood. So what are you gonna put for your annotations? Mood change. So I should see, first of all, I should see thing over here because that goes with the message or the lesson, right? So write thing, because that's the first thing you're gonna do. You should be writing thing. You should do it exactly how I just showed you. Make a line, and then the next thing they're gonna ask you about is what? You just told me. Mood change. Then you're gonna make another line. Now go back to the next question. That's giving you a rubric for what you need to look for. Got it?
On this one, underline should which mean like, you know what you say, like
You got 6 minutes and 56 seconds.
you know, went back. You know how Mr. B said put the line on it, and of course sent it through. So you're telling me where to go back and look at it.
You're looking at little annotations.
Let me see what you guys have right here. Let me see what you guys So, first one, I see you got the lesson. So the lesson is like the same thing as the message, right? The message is the same thing. So you could just write things in the form. What about the next one? Just asking about it. What about it? Change. Because that's what you're looking for. You're gonna make another line. You're gonna go to the next question. Good job, fellas. We got 5 minutes and 44 seconds. Good. And it's telling you stanza 2, right? So again, you will remember to bracket these. So just put it. You can put it. So at the same time, you don't want to spend too much time doing this. So you can just write things. If it tells you that go and practice, like practice, reading, you know. I was thinking like yeah. Good job. We have 4 minutes and 27 seconds, fellas. If you finish those 5, you can go on to the last 5. Remember the last 5? Combine both. I would not suggest, listen up, I would not suggest that you guys try to go for both pages. Just annotate the question stamps. That's if you're finished with the first 2. Okay? You got 4 minutes left. Yes, sir. I just want you to admit this is like we're gonna go back to I will because the last 5 is gonna have 6 times. It's gonna take time. So just I'm gonna text you the question. Right. You don't have to. This is what you need. Good. Make sure you bracket your stanza. So if it says stanza 2, I want you to put a bracket on it. So that when you start reading it, you know the author and the publisher. Yes, sir, Mrs. Ronsley. You will most likely consider it. Go ahead and bracket and highlight the paragraphs. We have 1 minute and 45 seconds. That's just questions. It's trying to go back. It's going to be too much time. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing your time and not wasting it. If you finish all of them, you have set yourself up for success. Yeah. I would do this before I start what? Reading. It's telling you what to do. Like I said, it saves time and it's going to help you to focus on what you need to focus on in terms of your reading. If you are done, both group members are done, could you start transitioning my roles back into the line so that we can take 45 minutes is all I'm giving you to go through these 2 passages and answer the 15 questions. Okay? So once you get done, start moving it back so we can get started right away. You have 42 seconds to get that done. Go ahead and start moving it back and get it done. Okay. Christian, move back. Everybody else, make sure you have a dictionary, a highlighter. Come on, we got 15 seconds. My class members are together. Let's go. 8 seconds. 5 seconds. Clear your desk. There should be nothing else. That's time. Good job. Thank you for the transition. Let's go. You're going to read your whole 45 minutes. There should be nothing else on the desk. There should be nothing else on the desk except for a dictionary, highlighter, something to write with. There should be nothing else on the desk. Thank you. Put that up on your desk. You got to practice in real test time and real test mode. You can't have any of this stuff. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
45 minutes. You got 96% from Hampton. You got 86% from ISU. I have faith in the University of Minnesota that you can beat both of them. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
45 minutes. Let's go. Good luck.